So today I'm interviewing Dr. Sabrina Shah-Desai. Dr. Shah-Desai is a highly regarded Harley Street ophthalmic plastic reconstructive surgeon and aesthetic practitioner, as well as the director, founder, and CEO of her companies. Dr. Shah-Desai has won multiple awards, too many to list here, for her work within the industry, and featured many times in the mainstream press as an expert in her field. As well as operating in theatre and injecting in clinic, she is also an international lecturer and is not long back from a lecture tour in Thailand. Dr. Shah-Desai went to medical school at the prestigious Bombay University before travelling to the UK to undertake highly specialist training in eye surgery and plastic surgery. It's really not possible to do justice to her CV in this short introduction. But within the field of aesthetic medicine and oculoplastics, Dr. Shah-Desai is very well known and respected across the board, and it is a pleasure to have the opportunity to interview her today. So tell me, Dr. Sabrina, what do you like about your job?
Well, what do I not like about it? I love interacting with patients. I love seeing the results that we can deliver that can be so transformative and life-changing. And I think that when I get the confidence back from the patient, where they come in and they have eye makeup on their eyelids and they suddenly get really sassy with me again because they're happy, you can see that, you can feel that vibe.
Yeah.
And I always felt like that when I was treating patients in the NHS, even when I was doing cataract surgery, which is in another life more than 20 years ago. And I feel that every time when I inject or when I operate, and I think it's just that buzz that I love.
Great. I know what you mean. It's really nice to have that patient feedback.
Yeah.
Can you think of something that you've done in the past that you're proud of? And don't be modest.
So my head is now going to officially become as big as my you know what, but the what I'm sitting on. Look, I've done lots of things, but I think what is particularly sweet to me is the fact that I was way ahead of the game as far as other oculoplastic surgeons and definitely plastic surgeons were concerned, particularly in India and UK, which is where I was based from. And I moved from the surgicals to explore the minimally invasive non-surgicals. And that meant that my journey on using fillers, toxin, energy-based devices was all my own. And I was a very early innovator or adapter and adopter. And I was ostracized. I was ostracized by my surgical colleagues. And I faced that kind of ostracization for a good decade where they sort of, all sorts of allegations that I couldn't operate when I'd actually, taught a lot of these surgeons how to operate, and they look down on minimally invasive treatments. And so now it's a sweet payback because, 16 years later, the same surgeons and colleagues and peers who look down on my journey, which came out of passion and curiosity, are coming to me for treatments. They're sending their spouses for treatments. They're coming and learning from me in the courses I run. So I think that for me, that was the biggest achievement. My actions spoke much louder than my words. I just kept quiet. I took the pelting with the sticks and stones. I've got a thicker skin now, and I've come out of it smelling of roses. So I think that's the sweet payback.
Oh, absolutely. And when you're not working, what do you love doing?
So when I'm not working, I go through two phases. I love traveling. Okay. For me, that is what sets me free. I feel incredible when I travel. I love learning about new cultures, foods, and meeting people and just traveling and seeing the world. This is a passion for me, and I come alive when I do it. But then I also have another side where I just sit and Netflix binge on Korean dramas. It is, I'm embarrassed to say this as a scientist and as an educator, that I can just go through this phase where I can just mindlessly watch the most puerile Korean dramas and feel refreshed out of it and happy out of it. So that's me. That's my sort of yin and yang.
Oh no, your secret's out now, Sabrina. Okay. What music do you like listening to right now?
So it's not right now. I've been stuck in the 70s, 80s, and 90s for a very long time. You know that, Stephen. You're my anesthetist in theater often enough, and I'm stuck listening to the Bee Gees or Brian Adams or Queen, Sting. Bruce Springsteen, all these kind of old guys, and Coldplay. I love that kind of music. I love that genre of music, and that's the sort of era I'm stuck in. I do listen to new music, but I think my heart and my soul, the energetically vibrates at that frequency of the 70s and between the 70s and 90s.
And it works with your operating as well. You literally listen to this while you're operating to
Yeah,
get into
yeah, I
the
really
get into
like
the
it.
groove of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And do you like to read? And if so, is there anything that you've read recently that you particularly
Yeah.
liked?
So I feel embarrassed saying this because my husband is an avid reader and so is my daughter. And I just feel like because I consume scientific literature, I sometimes don't know how to cut the boundary between my personal and my professional life, just because I don't think of work as work, so I don't really get time to read. But I do have colleagues who are worried about me. They're colleagues and friends, and they send me books to read. So the latest book I'm reading is actually being sent to me by a colleague called Ravi Jain, and it is The Four Agreements. And it's fantastic because he realized that the things I like reading are all about self-improvement. It has to be very motivational for me. I'm more a
Mm.
podcast person, so I like listening to TED podcasts. I like listening to Ranjan Chatterjee and podcasts on health and science and ways of self improvement. And so he sent me these books, which are incredible, and I'm reading them right now. And it's called The Four Agreements. And what I also realized reading it, that I was already living the two agreements out of those four, and have been for a long time. So it's just the way I lead my life. So it's been quite interesting. But that's the book I'm reading right now. I highly recommend
So that was my next question. I was thinking,
it.
what are the four agreements? So you two of them you
Well,
do already.
it's the way of life. It's the way you speak. Your words are really important. And I've learned that over the journey of, I don't like idle gossip. I don't like gossip, actually. It's just not my thing. I don't indulge in it because it just puts you in a negative space. I like being in a positive space. So it's your words. It's not taking anything too personally, which I have to work on because I do take things personally. It's about how you interact with the world, how you interact, with the universe and people, and how you give back. And I think it's very simple in terms of those four agreements. And I'm working through the four books right now because it talks about that. But I feel that for a long time now, I've been living my life that way, just sticking to being grateful, being positive, and being kind, and gracious. I think it's really important. And once you start living that and embodying that, it's amazing how things come your way that that elevate you.
Okay, great. I'll have to look at that myself.
I'm going
And
to give you
this,
the book.
yeah, I'll borrow it off you. So this must come from your childhood, your outlook. So can you tell me about the younger Sabrina? What did she want to do when she grew up?
So the younger Sabrina was a very confident Sabrina. I was the youngest of three girls, and my dad and mom were quite revolutionary for growing up in India, and they sort of empowered me to feel like that I was confident and resilient, and I think that just built in me this inner resilience. And so the young Sabrina was confident. They let me try different things. So I even used to model, and I used to act on stage, and I used to sing, and I had this whole thing, I was on TV, and it it I just sort of indulge in all these things which I think women and girls of my generation just weren't given that opportunity because it was considered bad. It was considered that it would corrupt your mind, but actually it just opened my mind and made me more confident. So I think that the young Sabrina was very confident, very resilient, and it's held me in good stead.
It sounds like you had great forward-thinking parents.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for better. Honestly, they were really amazing. And I'm glad my mom is still alive and going. She's 92 and she travels and she's, very stoical. So I think stoicism is the other thing that I learned, which you don't see right now. Everybody's in a rush and people just don't have the stoicism or the resilience to be able to understand that life is a journey, and you have to enjoy and celebrate each day of the journey, accept the ups and the downs.
And your mom must be very proud of you.
Touch wood. I hope so. I think she is. She doesn't tell me too much because she doesn't want my head to become bigger than my behind. But yes, I
And
think she is very proud of me.
she's a stoic as well then.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, that
yes,
makes sense.
100%.
Okay. So going back to your childhood, how old were you when you first thought about becoming a doctor?
Oh, I don't think there was a single day that I didn't want to be a doctor. My dad was my idol, my mentor, and I remember, very early on. Actually, my thumb got caught in the door in our house. We lived up on a hill in Bombay, which is very windy. And my dad said, "Right, I need to take that nail out because it was a really disfigured nail." And I think I must have been 7 or 8. And I said to him, "I want to watch." And he gave me a digital block, and I sat and I watched him take my nail out without feeling anything. And he said to me, he said, "Sabrina, I think you're going to be a doctor or a surgeon." So, because I wanted to be like him. So it never scared me.
Okay. Well, I mean that's one of the best doctor stories I've heard actually. Yeah. Okay. So, how many years did you have to study and train for altogether to become the specialist you are today?
I stopped counting. It's like when people ask me how many stitches did you take in my eyelid. I stopped counting because basically I still learn every day, Stephen. For me, uh, as a curious person, and what a dynamic, evolving field we are in, aesthetic
Yeah.
medicine,
Yeah.
surgery, it's lifelong learning. But I think that I did my undergrad and my postgrad in India, and I thought, done, I'm done. Then I said, I'm going to do my FRCS. So I continued studying. Then I went, done. And then I just had to retrain and do everything again to be accepted in the British system because we came back to England from India. So I'd been a consultant in India, done all my undergrad, my postgrad, got my degree, got my
Ah,
FRCS, and
right.
then I came back again. And then I studied again and I retrained again with two little babies. Okay. And so for me, I lost count because I just carried on. And then when I became a consultant, I embarked on this journey of aesthetic medicine. So I just started self learning. So I don't feel like I've stopped learning. I don't feel like, I think perhaps my last degree was my FRCS, which was 1997, December 97. But other than that, I've just carried on learning and educating myself as I do educate others. And I think that's the joy. I mean, I've just come back from Saudi, actually, not Thailand, because I was in Thailand in Feb. And it's fascinating teaching people because they ask you questions which you then suddenly realize, okay, maybe I don't know the answer to that, or it makes you think about why you're doing. So it's a very reflective style of learning, which I love.
Okay. And is there anything you'd like to say to your younger self?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned or I am learning is to say no without seeming like an awful person. So I think reframing no, because I was a people pleaser. And I still tend to be a little bit of a people pleaser and, try to be nice in terms of, I am a kind person, but I'm just trying to please everybody and not myself. So I don't put myself first often. And because I'm too scared to say no and how that no will be perceived. But I think to my younger self, I would say, reframe how you say no so that you understand what you're saying yes to. And that's the message I would give my younger self is reframe no so that you know what you're saying yes to.
Okay. Well, thank you for saying yes to me today.
You're most welcome, Stephen. I enjoy our conversation. So
Okay. And where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years' time?
where do I see myself in 5 to 10 years' time if I'm not knocked out this light? Um, Basically, I see myself in the educational space and in the skincare space. So I started developing, I have my own eye serum and SPF. We're just launching an LED. I see myself in the skincare space as giving something that can transition between professional care and home care. So people can use it. I can reach out to more people than what I'm doing currently. And 100% in the educational space. I feel I just love the fact that I have some knowledge that I can share and that people can benefit from that. Young doctors can benefit from that. I love that vibe and energy. Maybe I'll be a mentor. I don't know. But I see myself in 5 to 10 years being somewhere in that space.
Okay.
Those two spaces.
Well, that sounds like a good plan. But in the meantime, what would you like to take with you in your bag when I maroon you on Shetland?
You think George Clooney can fit in the bag? Clearly not. George Clooney. Then I also have a Korean hottie I really like called Hyun Bin, but my
You have to
husband's
choose
given up on
one.
that.
You can't have
Okay,
both.
I can't have both. Why not? You can have,
No,
okay.
I
No,
don't.
no, no. Okay. If I have a really small handbag, I would like to take my eye serum and SPF and my lip balm because I have really dry skin and I need to protect my skin. So that's going to go in as the small one. If I have a big bag, then it's either George Clooney or Hyun Bin, who is a Korean actor.
I was not expecting that.
Well, listen, I mean, I have to be realistic, right? I'm marooned on what am I going to do? You know?
I'm just visualizing them stuck in this bag in the suitcase, all curled up.
Can you imagine how grateful they'd be when I let them